Hello everybody. Well, I've started probably close to a dozen years ago, gradually turning my property, typical suburban property here in Southwest Florida, into a place that produces food and something that you can supplement your own groceries with fresh food and kind of make it into a little homestead. It's been a long, gradual process. I've made some mistakes. There's been some neglect sometimes, because I've worked full-time, it's busy. But I'm finally to the point now where I feel like I got it pretty much the way I want. Yeah, I'll certainly tinker around with stuff as the years go on, but for the most part I got it where I want. So let's take a little tour here. It's June 2020. Let's see what we got, and give you an idea of what's the possibilities are if you live in a similar type of climate and geography that I have. Okay, now this is the backyard. This is kind of the south side of the backyard. So this is where I kind of have any kind of garden, vegetables and stuff, because I keep this open because it gets really good sun. So we'll start over here in the corner here. Okay, that's where I have my little quail enclosure. So right now I've got 10. I'm going to be adding more, and I'm getting some pretty good egg production right now. Getting about 7 or 8 eggs a day, so I'd like to up that. But it's pretty much done. I'll have a separate video going over that again. I have some little ponds that I'm raising fish that I sell too, but that's for another video on my other channel probably. Okay, here's kind of the tomato section. So Everglade tomatoes mostly. Here's another Everglade tomato. Here's a larger tomato that's starting to kind of die back as it gets hot and rainy. Too much water. The larger tomatoes, I don't really like to bother with them. Just don't do well. The tomatoes, they kind of go in fits and starts, the Everglades tomatoes. Okay, I had a huge amount of them for several weeks. Then they kind of tailed off, and now they'll start coming in again. But Everglades tomatoes, wonderful. Selling a ton of seeds on eBay and Etsy and places like that. Okay, over here we have our yard-long beans, and they're just I'd say in another 2 or 3 weeks this is going to be a solid green here along this trellis. I already picked some. I am selling some of the seeds too, but I'd say another couple weeks this will be at the point where I'm probably getting 2-3 meals a week out of these, as a side dish for the family. Okay, great summer vegetable. They just do great in this heat and rain. Okay, here's a little citrus, a little orange tree. Here's a lemon lime tree I got started. Got it last year. It's doing pretty well. Okay, you can see the Seminole pumpkin growing. I started all these last September. Yeah, it was like late September. I think I only had like 3 or 4 grow out, and they've just been producing Seminole pumpkins the whole time. Not a huge amount. The big production has come since probably about April, when it's been spitting out a bunch of Seminole pumpkins. So we'll get a closer look at those in a minute. Okay, then over here, okay, we've got our cowpeas. This is your 6-week purple hull cowpeas. So they're all in pots here. As you can see, I got to pick some today, definitely. Really good production starting here. Over here I have emerald okra. Really good production. It looks like I'm going to have. They're getting nice and big and healthy looking, as you can see. This is a banana tree. Don't really like it. Produces little miniature dwarf bananas. I don't know if there's even any left. I've never been able to figure out when to harvest them or if they're even edible. I don't see them now. So someday maybe I can replace this with a more normal banana tree. This just doesn't cut it. So you can see these Seminole pumpkin runners. I just go everywhere. I just kind of let them go everywhere. And it can become problematic when you're trying to mow the grass. So right now I'm just kind of pulling weeds as I can around it. If that becomes a big problem, I might have to just mow some of them down. So there are some, I know there's some in here somewhere. I got a bunch growing on a few of the vines, and some of them aren't. But I got plenty. I've had tons of them. We've had Seminole pumpkin a couple times a week. So you see they're just sprawled out all over the place. Yeah, here's one that's getting ripe. There's plenty more. They're just like underneath the leaves. The leaves are actually edible too. So I started them in this little garden bed here. And in this little garden bed, I also have some additional cowpeas growing. Okay, as you can see, had a little aphid issue out here too. Have sweet potatoes here. And I'll be adding another couple buckets in probably late June. There's some more Seminole pumpkins. This vine's got like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I see 4 on this one. Here we got muscadine grapes I've had going for many, many years. So this will explode with little grapes. Probably another month or so. It's going to be full. These are like gold, bronze colored type of grapes. Really work well on this fence. Here I got a couple peach trees. These have been here a long time. They used to be extremely productive, but they've gotten some neglect. So over the next year I'm going to try to bring them back. Maybe they're just too old, I don't know, but we're going to try to bring them back. You know, I had a few peaches this year, not very many. But man, when these were going, these literally were weighed down. The branches were drooping with peaches for several years there where they were going. We haven't had a maybe cold enough winters lately. There's been, you got to have a certain amount of chill hours to get good fruit production. I don't know if that's playing a role too, but certainly neglect hasn't helped. Oh, here's a little Seminole pumpkin growing here. See it? And there's another one. All right, and we go to the back here. Here's that down kaya I was talking about in a different video. Just going strong, you know, it's all uprooted. It doesn't care. Got a little watermelon growing in a pot. We'll see how this does. I was hoping to grow some more watermelons. They pretty much failed over in the garden bed over there. Go to the back. There's a clump of kaya plants over here, mixed in with some palmetto. Just kind of keep this as a barrier of privacy. Here's a whole bunch of a pile of kaya cuttings, big ones, you know, when I've been pruning them. That's the biggest problem with kaya. Mistake I've made is letting them get too tall. You want to cut them down. Try not to let them get over 6-7 feet tall. So right now when I'm doing orders for them or sales, I'm trying to cut them from the tops, get in the middle, so as I can gradually start pruning these down. So when I'm doing cutting orders, I'm trying to get the chop things down at the top to start getting these things pruned down. Okay, here we got moringa. This one actually was growing by itself over there by those bananas, and I transplanted it successfully. Again, made the mistake of letting this big moringa over here get way too tall. I should have kept it cut way down, because now it's just really big. I did prune it some last winter, but it's too big, it makes it kind of hard to harvest. So I'm not going to let this one get too much taller, but the problem is it was growing kind of tall over there when I transplanted it. So I got to be careful I don't overdo it. And that is one thing. I'll be adding a couple more moringa plants, probably in this area, since they seem to be doing pretty well. Okay, back here we have bananas. These do pretty well. They just need, you know, I just need to keep up on fertilizing. I got to get more fertilizer back here. So here's some that have been going for a while. It's a big bunch. There's another bunch over here. I think there's another one back there. This is a huge clump of kaya. It's huge. I'm almost going to make a little trail back there, but I also use kaya kind of as a security fencing, because it provides a lot of privacy, and it's really good to put along a fence line for added security for your yard. There's another one going. Here's some additional tomatoes growing. Oh, there's some weeds got to go. Get those out of there. So additional Everglades tomatoes. Again, more kaya everywhere. I will not run out of kaya, but they're such a great food plant, the leaves. And they have a lot of other uses, you know, for the security, fencing, and stuff like that. Here's guava. This guava tree's done great. It fruits pretty much all year. You know, sometimes of the year you'll get a few at a time. Sometimes you'll get a bunch at a time. This is very productive. I sell a lot of the leaves. People use the leaves for tea. Sell a lot of those on eBay and Etsy and places like that. Amazon. Okay, back here, got a couple things kind of hidden. Here's a mulberry. So there are Okay, so these mulberries, they usually produce 2 or 3 times a year where they'll be fruiting, so very productive back here. Really nice tasting too. I do have a little Katuk patch here. Katuk have really nice peanutty tasting leaves, excellent vegetable. They got a little neglected though, and the winter they do need a lot of water, and during our dry season here they got neglected, and so they died back over the last couple of years. So I'm just trying to keep this little patch going, and maybe I can expand them at some other point, either right here or in a different part of the yard. I don't have very many places left to do it, but so I'm going to try to do that. And again, I planted some of those kaya cuttings here along the fence, so they'll grow out and provide additional security and privacy. All right, so let's just take a quick pan around the backyard here, so you just get a quick look. All right, now we're going to go to the front yard, so let's go take a look at the front. Okay, here we are in the front yard. Excuse the traffic noise, a little bit of a busy road I'm on most of the time. So make good use of the front yard, at least part of it. So have a couple Katuk here. Front, again, it can provide some privacy and shade and some additional plants. Have 3 loquat trees. There's one there, and one right here. For loquat is a very productive fruit tree. Fruits a couple of different times a year and is very productive. Excellent to have. Here we have a macadamia nut tree. Been going a long time. It's, you know, fairly productive. The problem is I hardly ever get to eat any because every squirrel in the neighborhood knows where this tree is and they get it to it before I do. So the squirrels make a lot better use of it than me. All right, then over here, probably the most productive tree is our star fruit or carambola tree right here. No fruit right now, but I would say it's fruiting probably 4 to 5 months a year where there's fruit going. It'll fruit 2 to 3 times a year for long periods of time. Excellent, excellent tree. Now we go over to the side yard. Okay, we have a nice big mango, too big. It really needs to be cut back. Look at the production on that. And really great tasting fruit, awesome. Now this patch right here, I've usually had papaya here. Mine died off a few years ago and I'm going to replace them. I have some seedlings going right now that are about ready to be planted in a week or 2. So that's what we do here. I don't have anything on the other side because it's pretty much the north side. It's pretty shady. But I get a lot of use out of, I think, the land that we have. Alright, so that's it. I hope you found this useful. If you want to support the channel, there's some Amazon links below in the description box. There's links to my eBay store, Etsy, Amazon, and where I do sell some cuttings and seeds and leaves. And a lot of other things too. So if you want to support, you can do that. If you have any questions, feel free. And I try to get back to people who have good questions. So good luck if you're trying to do some of these things. And I will see you later.